CKSP 600 AM ਸ਼ੇਰ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਰੇਡੀਓ ਸੁਣ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ ਤੁਸੀਂ, ਔਰ ਮੈਂ ਹਸਮੀਰ ਕੌਸ਼ਲ। ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ 28 ਸਾਲ ਦੇ ਇੱਕ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਆਫਿਸਰ ਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ, ਜਿਹੜਾ 10 ਮਹੀਨੇ ਦੀ ਆਪਣੀ ਪ੍ਰੋਬੇਸ਼ਨ ਪੀਰੀਅਡ ਅਜੇ ਉਹਨੇ ਖ਼ਤਮ ਕੀਤਾ ਸੀ ਓਨਟਾਰੀਓ ਪ੍ਰੋਵਿੰਸ਼ੀਅਲ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਬਤੌਰ ਕਾਂਸਟੇਬਲ ਭਰਤੀ ਹੋ ਕੇ। ਔਰ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਉਹ ਇੱਕ ਬੜੇ ਵਧੀਆ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਜੋ ਜਾਣਕਾਰੀ ਆਈ ਹੈ, ਬਹੁਤ ਵਧੀਆ ਐਗਜ਼ੈਂਪਲਰੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਉਹ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਆਫਿਸਰ ਰਹੇ ਸੀ ਕੈਨੇਡੀਅਨ ਆਰਮਡ ਫੋਰਸਿਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ। ਇਹ ਵੀ ਇੱਕ ਜਾਣਕਾਰੀ ਆ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ। ਲੇਕਿਨ ਮੰਗਲਵਾਰ ਦੁਪਹਿਰ ਦੇ ਵਕਤ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ 2 ਲੋਕਾਂ ਦੇ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਗੋਲੀ ਮਾਰ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਗਈ ਜਦੋਂ ਇਹ ਆਪਣੀ ਡਿਊਟੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਉਹ ਨਿਭਾ ਰਹੇ ਸੀ। ਔਰ ਉਹ ਪਹਿਲਾ ਦਿਨ ਸੀ ਜਦੋਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਪ੍ਰੋਬੇਸ਼ਨ ਪੀਰੀਅਡ ਖ਼ਤਮ ਹੋਇਆ ਸੀ। 10 ਮਹੀਨਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਪ੍ਰੋਬੇਸ਼ਨ ਪੀਰੀਅਡ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਉਹ ਅਜੇ ਖ਼ਤਮ ਹੀ ਹੋਇਆ ਸੀ। ਕਾਂਸਟੇਬਲ ਗਜ਼ੇਗੋਸ਼ ਪੀਕਸ਼ਖਾਲਾ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਨਾਂ ਹੈ। ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਗ੍ਰੈਗ ਦੇ ਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਵੀ ਜਾਣਿਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ। ਔਰ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਕਤਲ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਇਹ ਹੈਗਰਸਵੈਲ ਓਨਟਾਰੀਓ ਇਹਦੇ ਨਜ਼ਦੀਕ ਕੀਤਾ ਗਿਆ ਸੀ। ਔਰ 2 ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਫੜਿਆ ਗਿਆ। 25 ਸਾਲ ਦਾ ਰੈਂਡਲ ਮੈਕੈਂਜੀ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕਿ ਮਿਸੀਸਾਗਾਜ਼ ਆਫ ਦ ਨਿਊ ਕ੍ਰੈਡਿਟ ਫਸਟ ਨੇਸ਼ਨ ਦਾ ਰਹਿਣ ਵਾਲਾ ਜਾਂ ਜੁੜਿਆ ਹੋਇਆ, ਔਰ 30 ਸਾਲਾਂ ਦੀ ਬ੍ਰੈਂਡੀ ਸਟੂਅਰਟ ਸਪੈਰੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈਮਿਲਟਨ ਦੀ ਹੈ। ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਗ੍ਰਿਫਤਾਰ ਕਰ ਲਿਆ ਗਿਆ। ਥੋੜ੍ਹੀ ਦੂਰ ਤੋਂ ਹੀ ਗ੍ਰਿਫਤਾਰ ਕੀਤਾ ਗਿਆ, ਦੱਸਿਆ ਨਹੀਂ ਗਿਆ ਐਗਜ਼ੈਕਟਲੀ ਕਿਹੜੀ ਥਾਂ ਹੈ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਇਹ ਵਾਰਦਾਤ ਵਾਲੀ ਥਾਂ ਹੈ। ਉਹ ਤੋਂ ਥੋੜ੍ਹੀ ਜਿਹੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਕਸੀਮਿਟੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਹੀ ਗ੍ਰਿਫਤਾਰ ਕੀਤਾ ਗਿਆ, ਲੇਕਿਨ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਫੜ ਲਿਆ ਗਿਆ। ਇਹਨਾਂ 'ਤੇ ਫਸਟ ਡਿਗਰੀ ਮਰਡਰ ਦੇ ਚਾਰਜਿਸ ਵੀ ਲਗਾ ਦਿੱਤੇ ਗਏ ਕਾਂਸਟੇਬਲ ਦੇ ਕਤਲ ਦੇ। ਲੇਕਿਨ ਇਹ ਸਾਰੀਆਂ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਬਾਤਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਓਨਟਾਰੀਓ ਪ੍ਰੋਵਿੰਸ਼ੀਅਲ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਦੇ ਕਮਿਸ਼ਨਰ ਨੇ ਥਾਮਸ ਕੈਰੀ, ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਇਹ ਕਿਹਾ ਗਿਆ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਇਹ ਮੈਕੈਂਜੀ ਲੜਕਾ ਹੈ ਰੈਂਡਲ ਮੈਕੈਂਜੀ 25 ਸਾਲ ਦਾ, ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਇਹਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਸਾਲ 2018 ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੀ ਤਾਂ ਉਮਰ ਬੰਦੂਕ ਜਾਂ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਫਾਇਰ ਆਰਮ ਰੱਖਣ ਲਈ ਪਾਬੰਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਲਾਈ ਹੋਈ ਸੀ ਖਰੀਦਣ ਵਾਸਤੇ। ਔਰ 3 ਸਾਲ ਬਾਅਦ ਯਾਨੀ ਕਿ 2021 ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਮੈਕੈਂਜੀ ਹੈ ਇਹ ਫੇਅਰ ਚਾਰਜ ਹੋਇਆ ਸੈਵਰਲ ਫਾਇਰ ਆਰਮ ਰਿਲੇਟਡ ਅਫੈਂਸਿਸ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ, ਯਾਨੀ ਕਿ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਫਾਇਰ ਆਰਮ ਨਾਲ ਜੁੜੇ ਜੁਰਮ ਸੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ, ਔਰ ਇੱਕ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਆਫਿਸਰ ਨੂੰ ਅਸੌਲਟ ਕਰਨ ਨੂੰ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਵੀ ਪਿਛਲੇ ਸਾਲ ਵੀ ਇਹੀ ਮੈਕੈਂਜੀ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਰੈਂਡਲ ਮੈਕੈਂਜੀ ਜਿਹਨੇ ਕਤਲ ਕੀਤਾ। ਔਰ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਕਿ ਮੈਕੈਂਜੀ ਨੂੰ ਬੇਲ ਦੇ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਗਈ, ਕਈ ਕੰਡੀਸ਼ਨਸ ਲਗਾਈਆਂ ਗਈਆਂ, ਲੋਟ ਆਫ ਕੰਡੀਸ਼ਨਸ, ਕਈ ਕੰਡੀਸ਼ਨਸ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਲਗਾ ਦਿੱਤੀਆਂ ਗਈਆਂ, ਜਿਹਦੇ ਜਿਹਨੂੰ ਕਿਹਾ ਗਿਆ ਆਪਣੇ ਘਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਰਹੇਗਾ, ਕੋਈ ਫਾਇਰ ਆਰਮ ਪੋਜ਼ੈਸ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰੇਗਾ। ਔਰ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਕਿਹਾ ਗਿਆ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਸਤੰਬਰ ਦੇ ਮਹੀਨੇ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੋਰਟ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਸ ਗੱਲ ਨੂੰ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਪੇਸ਼ ਵੀ ਹੋਏਗਾ, ਪਰ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਉਹ ਕੋਰਟ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਇਆ ਨਹੀਂ। ਫਿਰ ਇਹਦੇ ਖਿਲਾਫ ਇੱਕ ਵਾਰੰਟ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਦੀ ਅਰੈਸਟ ਨੂੰ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਇਸ਼ੂ ਕੀਤਾ ਗਿਆ। ਲੇਕਿਨ ਸਾਰੀਆਂ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਬਾਤਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿਹੜੇ OPP ਕਮਿਸ਼ਨਰ ਥਾਮਸ ਕੈਰਿਕ ਨੇ, ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਇਹ ਗੱਲ ਕਹੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਬਹੁਤ ਕੁਛ ਚੇਂਜ ਕੀਤੇ ਜਾਣ ਦੀ ਲੋੜ ਹੈ। ਸਮਥਿੰਗ ਨੀਡਸ ਟੂ ਚੇਂਜ। ਇੱਕ 28 ਸਾਲ ਦਾ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਆਫਿਸਰ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਜਦੋਂ 5 ਸਾਲ ਦਾ ਵੀ ਸੀ, ਵੈਨ ਹੀ ਵਾਜ਼ ਓਨਲੀ 5 years old, ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਉਹਦਾ ਸੁਪਨਾ ਸੀ, ਉਹਦਾ ਡਰੀਮ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਆਫਿਸਰ ਬਣੇ। ਐਂਡ ਹੀ ਵਾਜ਼ ਐਨ ਐਗਜ਼ੈਂਪਲਰੀ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਆਫਿਸਰ ਸਰਵਡ ਇਨ ਦ ਕੈਨੇਡੀਅਨ ਆਰਮਡ ਫੋਰਸਿਸ ਐਜ਼ ਵੈਲ। ਉਹਦਾ ਸੁਪਨਾ ਪੂਰਾ ਹੋਇਆ ਦ ਡੇ, ਉਸ ਦਿਨ ਜਿੱਦਣ ਉਹਨੇ ਆਪਣੀ 10 month ਪ੍ਰੋਬੇਸ਼ਨ ਪੀਰੀਅਡ ਪਾਸ ਕੀਤਾ, ਜਿੱਦਣ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਅਪਰੂਵਲ ਮਿਲੀ ਕਿ ਹੀ ਕੈਨ ਗੋ ਸਿੰਗਲ ਹੈਂਡਲੀ ਟੂ ਪੈਟਰੋਲ, ਉਸੇ ਦਿਨ ਜਿੱਦਣ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਅਬਿਲਿਟੀ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਗਈ ਹੈ, ਗ੍ਰਾਂਟ ਕੀਤੀ ਗਈ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਪੈਟਰੋਲ ਇੰਡੀਪੈਂਡੈਂਟਲੀ ਕਰ ਸਕਦਾ ਹੈ, ਉਸੇ ਦਿਨ ਉਹਦਾ ਕਤਲ ਹੋ ਜਾਣਾ ਇੱਕ ਬਹੁਤ ਦੁਖਦਾਈ ਗੱਲ ਹੈ। ਪਰ ਕੀ ਇਹ ਰੋਕਿਆ ਜਾ ਸਕਦਾ ਸੀ? ਇਹਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਐਕਸਪਰਟ ਐਡਵਾਈਸ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈ, ਐਕਸਪਰਟ ਓਪੀਨੀਅਨ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਉਹ ਲਾਂਗੇ ਮਿਸਟਰ ਕੈਸ਼ ਸ਼ੀਟ ਦਾ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ ਸਾਬਕਾ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਆਫਿਸਰ ਵੀ ਰਹੇ ਆ ਔਰ ਇਸ ਵਕਤ ਮੌਜੂਦਾ ਸਮੇਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਿਟੀ ਆਫ ਰਿਚਮੰਡ ਦੇ ਕਾਉਂਸਲਰ ਵੀ ਨੇ। ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਆਪਾਂ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ। ਮੇਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਸ਼ਾਮਿਲ ਹੋ ਚੁੱਕੇ ਨੇ ਮਾਨਯੋਗ ਕੈਸ਼ ਸ਼ੀਟ ਸਾਹਿਬ, ਆਨਰੇਬਲ ਕੈਸ਼ ਸ਼ੀਟ ਜੀ। ਕੈਸ਼ ਸ਼ੀਟ ਜੀ, ਗੁੱਡ ਮਾਰਨਿੰਗ।
Good morning, Samir.
Mr. Heed, you must have been aware with this news of Constable Gzegosh Pekshkhala's death, and it was murder actually, and it was indeed an unfortunate incident. But was it preventable? As the commissioner of OPP was saying, yes, it was preventable.
Well, let me first say it's a very sad experience that everyone's going through regarding this person's death. You can't find anything more tragic than a police officer whose young life is taken in these particular circumstances. But in answer to your question, I believe it was preventable. I believe a lot of our confrontations that police are having with society right now are preventable. And I think part of the problem is we have these, again, policymakers that really don't enforce the policies that are required to be. So we can have a civil society. For example, this individual that took, it's alleged this individual that took this young police officer's life was actually wanted at the time. He had committed violent crime previously, and there was a warrant out for his arrest.
But who are the policymakers to whom we can, hold accountable in this case if the policies are so lenient or are in the favor of, the repeat offenders?
The policymakers are your politicians, and that's the problem here. We've talked about the lack of a enforceable criminal justice system here in Canada. And here's an example of it, where you have an individual that most likely has easy access to a firearm, is out there wanted on a warrant for a violent crime, and ambushes. It appears he's ambushed this young police officer that was responding to help him. He was responding to an incident of a car that was in the ditch to see what was going on. And this is what happens. So I point the fingers, and I continually point the fingers at the policymakers, because they're the ones that can tighten up our criminal justice system and put the right people in jail. We have a lot of the wrong people in jail. Jail is no longer a deterrent for these violent offenders, for these people that have emotional health, mental health crisis issues, or have severe drug addiction that they're causing so much harm to society. Look what happened to the young police officer, the female that was killed in Burnaby. In the park there. It's the same set of circumstances where you have something that is, in my opinion, very preventable. And now they've lost their lives when they're out there serving the community.
Before going to my next question, I have another question from you. Definitely, you can answer it way better than anybody else. What are the common dangers our police officers face in their daily duties or daily routine?
Not knowing what's going to happen. For example, there are incidents that we respond to, but we know they're very violent incidents. There is some information pertaining to someone that may have a weapon, someone that's committed a particular crime. But so often, Samir, you respond or you deal with people and you have no idea what is going on. In this set of circumstances, this officer did not know that he was responding to an incident where someone had a firearm and someone was going to ambush him. There was no indication at all. It was your usual response to a motor vehicle accident, a car in the ditch, to see what's going on. So the harm or the fear that a lot of police officers have is not knowing what's going on, not knowing what's happening. That's why when you're responding to incidents, there's information that is coming into you, and you have to be aware of the situation continually. And I'm sure this young officer, just out of his training, was aware of what to look for, but still it made no difference.
But once again, we are going through a debate in our bail change policy. Do you think that bail change policy can be a better solution to deal with this kind of problem or this kind of situation, especially?
Absolutely. Our policies, our administration of justice, just here in British Columbia, where most of your listeners are right now, is pathetic. Our whole bail reform system is pathetic. And for our politicians to get up there and defend it, or our bureaucrats to get up there and defend it, is absolutely terrible. And this is where the community, this is where society has to stand up and challenge them, because it is not working. It has not worked for so many years. We have so many people that are wandering around on our streets that are causing harm, whether it's a dangerous offender or whether it's someone that just has a substantial mental health problem. And we are not dealing with it. We are letting them wander around. We are holding our breath, hoping nothing happens. Well, I can tell you there are people that have severe mental health issues that should be incapacitated in an institution until they're better, if they're ever better. Mm-hmm. We have people that have severe drug addiction, and what are we doing? Waiting till they overdose and die to fix the problem? No. We are not dealing with the things that are harming society in such a way. And the bail reform is one area where we have to seriously give our head a shake and say, look, anyone that's involved in a violent crime, anyone that's a violent offender or anything like that, those are the people that have to be put in jail. Those people that are on warrants, we need to have fugitive squads that go out there and hunt these people down and arrest them and put them behind bars.
Mm-hmm. But Mr. Heed, have you officially raised this concern with the competent authority ever? Or are you planning right now, you are into a public service as well?
Well, absolutely. I continually, Samir, I've been raising this concern for the last 25 years on the failure of our systems, the failure of our policing system, too. If you even want to look at that, the fact that we have such a balkanized, fractured police system serving Metro Vancouver and the Capital Region and other places in BC.
Have you spoke to? I'm sorry. Have you ever spoke to the public safety minister regarding this?
No, I have not, and I won't speak to the public safety minister because he dismisses so many things. So for me to talk to him, is not going to make much of a difference. But I can tell you right now, if we get our voters out there, if we get them pressuring these elected officials that are there to serve you, you will see a change. My position right now is to do the best that I can for Richmond, BC, and I continue to do that. I ask the pertinent questions regarding stranger attacks, regarding drug overdoses, regarding all of the issues that affect the people that live, play, and work in Richmond, and I'll continue to do that. But like I've done my entire career, I will call out the inefficient systems we have in place, the ineffective politicians we have in place right now. And I will never stop doing that no matter where I am.
Mr. Heed, what else can be done to provide a safe environment to our first responders?
Well, number one is if you look at the recent statistics that come out, where people are alarmed because we've had these confrontations where there's an increase in police shootings by 25% in Canada. I think we had 86 shootings and leading to 46 deaths recently from January to November of this year. And people are alarmed saying, it's the police, it's the police. In some circumstances, it may be something we need to tweak or reform in policing. Absolutely. I believe in continually changing our policing to meet society needs. But these people that are pointing the finger at the police all the time for dealing with it, they're part of the particular problem. And when you have people that come on the 6 o'clock news and say, oh my God, look what's happening, look what the police are doing. There are confrontations that the police are dealing with 24/7 right now with people that should not be out there in society, whether they're wanted on a warrant, whether they're violent offenders awaiting their court hearing, or whether they're people with severe drug addiction, people with severe mental health issues. Just look at what's happening on East Hastings and how disgusting that area is. And could you imagine those police officers that have to work in that particular area? I was fortunate. We didn't have it. Maybe we had a different police leadership in place to make sure it never got to that point. But I didn't have to deal with it. I had to deal with other issues. And as a police leader, I would never let the East Hastings area go to the situation it is right now, regardless of who the political person is in power, because that is not. The police chief is sworn to protect society and deal with these particular issues. And Vancouver's police, and I've called him out before, police chief, he is not doing it.
Mr. Heed, as you said in your statement that there is a rise in the gun violence and especially in the shootings, but are you seeing any kind of change in the crime trend nowadays in society?
Yes, and that is the violent confrontations with police. There was a time, and I think there still is in a lot of people's mind, where wherever the police were present, you respected them. You listened to what they say. That's not what is happening now. The police officers that are going out there and dealing with people are in confrontations continually. People are acting out against the police. You never saw it to the extent you see it right now. And that's a real shift in dealing with the people, whether they're on the lower rung of the socioeconomic ladder or whatever. But that's the fact that is happening, and we're letting people get away with it. Let me tell you, I'm the first to tell you, if you raise your hand to a police officer, you should be knocked flat on your butt.
Mr. Heed, what would you like to say in closing? If I miss any point, if you want to add something to the talk?
Yeah, I would. I would like to really, Samir, and you've heard me talk about this before. We really need, as a society, we really need to put pressure on our politicians and call them out for the lack of programs, the lack of justice, the lack of rehabilitation, whatever the issue is. And the primary issue right now is mental health, drugs, and the criminal justice system. We need to call out our politicians because we're the taxpayers. We're the ones that are paying for it. We need to have the right systems in place that are delivering our security, our protective services, and our safety.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much, Mr. Heed. We really appreciate your time once again, sir, and you have a very nice day ahead.
Thank you.